We'll try 'em one more time. I made a couple of mistakes there, but there we are. Anyhow, look, good morning to you. Thursday, Cornishman Day again, as we just say. I mean, it's been nice out there. It's a bit fresher now, and it's better for all of us. Feeling better, sleep better. Well, and like you said, pipe band next week, but I don't worry too much about it because nature's a fine thing, really. We'll have enough rain coming down from the sky. Just think positive about all of them. That's all I can say. Better thing now, better injection. So I think from the 17th for us or something next month, or this month, September, yeah. But anyhow, hope everybody's staying safe and, well, just stay safe and you'll be all right. And I know my hair wants a bit of cutting, so I look a bit like Wurzel Gummidge. I'll have them cut for next week, get the grass cutter out. Anyhow, I've got three birthdays here today. Brendan Brooks, happy birthday to you. Have a lovely day. Jew Lowry, and you have a happy birthday too as well. Enjoy yourselves. Have a nice day. And I got a dear friend of mine. It's called Glennis Kernow from up there, Camborne. And happy birthday to you, Glennis. And just have a lovely day. And take care. Now I'm going to carry on with this little story about Mary Kleineck. Walking from down Newland there to the great exhibition. I hope you don't mind, but there we are. I was told I must make for Exeter. A braille stink that was. But I had plenty of company. There's a lot of traffic on between the two cities. I joined up with two packmen who were going to work the Devon farms and villages. I parted with them at Crossroads, and they told me from there all the roads lead to London. I don't know how many days I'd been walking, but come the middle of July, I found myself in a place called Ringwood in Hampshire. The landlord at the inn was very kind and gave me a drop of ale and some bread and cheese. He said he'd heard about me from travellers on the coaches that had gone ahead of me. His missus complimented me on how neat and clean I was after all my days of hiking. They gave me the address of a decent lodging house in London and told me the best way to go now was up through Salisbury. What a handsome get church they got up Salisbury. On and on I went, telling my tale, collecting a bit of money here and there, and at last I found myself in London Churchtown. I'd done it. My problem now was to find a Mary Lee Bone. London was bigger and noisier and busier than anything I'd ever seen in all my born days. The traffic, all those carriages and wagons, people rushing past me, shouting their heads off. For the first time in all 5 weeks I'd been walking, I felt lost. I asked one or two where this Marylebone was, but they talked so fast and so funny I couldn't understand them. So in desperation I stopped the young man, and I could see he was a bettermost young gentleman. Someone must have been watching over me, because not only did he know where Homer Place was, Crawford Street, and Marylebone, but he was what they call a journalist. He wrote stories for one of the London newspapers, and he said that if I would tell him my tale, he would take me there himself. I said, done. So come on, my son, let's go. He called over a carriage and off we went. I felt like a queen. The house where we found it was very quiet, and the landlady couldn't have been kinder. Gave me a dear little room all to myself, brought up a can of hot water for me to wash, and I tell 'ee, when I put my feet in that pan of hot water, I felt I was in heaven. My young journalist friend promised me he would take me to the exhibition next day. I didn't think I would be able to sleep for excitement, but my belly full as an egg, washed and lying between clean sheets, I slept like a log. Next day I was ready and waiting, and so off we went to the Hyde Park. Well, when I saw this get building where this exhibition was to, I thought no wonder they'd call it the Crystal Palace, for it was all made of glass, tier upon tier of great panes of glass, and over the top of 'em it was all a huge round arch, the wonders in size. Trees growing that you could look up through and see the sky, the biggest glass fountain you ever saw, and an organ as big as you could find anywhere. No way could you take it all in one go. Afterwards, you couldn't keep me away. One day I said that I seen them rolling out a red carpet from the doorway. By now I got to know the attendants. Who's coming? I asked. Oh, the Queen is, they said, and if you stand over there, right by the door, you'll have a good view. I did as I was told, and before long a carriage drove up. All the gentry moved up and was bowing and ducking, and there she was, with Prince Albert. She walked down that carpet on his arm, with her beautiful skirts swaying around her. She was like a little flower, and he was a real picture of a man. And she kept looking up at us if she could eat him. They went inside for a while, and when they come out, I bellowed out, God bless your Majesty. I couldn't help myself. Next thing I know, they stopped right by me. Well, I ducked like the others, but they wasn't in no hurry to pass on. When I told them where I was from and how I'd walked all the way, they were most interested. Told me how they'd enjoyed their visit to Mounts Bay a few years back along. So I was overcome. I had tears in my eyes. If only they home in Newland could have seen me. My good fortune still continued, you know. I had a message inviting me to visit the Neville pensioners at Greenwich Hospital as they had a present for me. Nearly 3,000 men were boarded there. I took a ferry boat down the river to see them, down past the great ships and the mighty Tower of London. I shouldn't have liked to been put in there. Anyway, the pensioners were very interested in me and my William, and they gave me a gift of enough money to get me home by any means I liked. All my troubles were over. I'd had enough now to spend another few weeks in London, but come November it really was time to be bound for home. Before I left, I went to say goodbye to all my friends I'd met at the Crystal Palace. I went to the Cornish stand to tell them I was leaving, and there I had a surprise of my life. And Mr. Pierce was there. He was in London. He was in the London police, and a great fine man he was. He said so many well wishers had left money for me on the Cornish stand that he had taken the liberty of making arrangements with Belitho's bank for they to pay me 5 shillings a week for a certain time when I got home, and 3 shillings a week after that. I was overcome. That meant I wouldn't have to stank so many miles every day carrying the cow to earn a crust of bread. A crowd came to see me off at Paddington Station. I decided to travel home in style. I shan't do that again in a hurry. The speed, the noise, the dirt, cinders flying everywhere. I felt as if I was shook to pieces. I was glad to get off the train at Exeter and board the timed stagecoach to Truro. I was lucky there. I'd been given a free seat beside by Mr. Proctor of Launson. He and his friends, Mr. Pratt and Mr. Linduro, looked after me as if I was royalty. When we stopped to change horses at Lostwithiel, I found a crowd of ladies and gentlemen waiting for me. They entertained me very well indeed at the White Hart Hotel. When the coach left again for Truro, I was given so many presents. Oh, my old cowl was brimming. And after another coach brought me on the last leg home, and I tell 'ee, I was getting some excited. As we got near Marazion, I came over the brow of the hill where you could see the mount, with the sun shining behind it, Paul Church Tower like a beacon on the skylight, and my own Newlyn, nestled under the hill. My heart was full. I'd met the highest in the land, and I'd seen such wonders, and I had a rare old time in London church town. But when all is said and done, you can't beat home, especially when that home is Newland. Why'd I do it again, you ask? I don't know. I should have think hard about that, but I do know this much: I wouldn't have missed it for the world. Take care and have a nice weekend.